it's Trina, and this is my review of the book The Girl Who Fell by S.M. Parker. This is a 2016 debut novel, and it is about a girl in high school. Our main character falls for the new boy, and it turns out that he's quite manipulative, and this kind of progresses into a very toxic relationship, and despite the warnings by her best friends and by her mother, she continues to go all in with this relationship, and it kind of ends up with some negative consequences. I picked this book up because I was very interested in the exploration of an unhealthy relationship, of an abusive relationship, and that's definitely what this book does. Now, you're not going to enjoy this story, but I gave it 5 stars because I really appreciated the exploration of an abusive relationship. It showed you the very beginning to the very bitter end of this relationship, and I really enjoyed that. It does take a while for these characters to get together. It takes a while for it to become clear that this is a toxic relationship, even though you know that going in. So a lot of times when I know things about a book going in and then the book kind of takes a while to get there, I get bored. But the entire time I was just really gripped by this writing, by the writing style. She really got me into it. I appreciated that it showed the buildup of their relationship and that there aren't necessarily going to be warning signs with every abuser. That she was legitimately attracted to him. He was legitimately sweet at first. There are a few sex scenes in this book, and at first I felt kind of uncomfortable reading about that when I knew that this wasn't a healthy relationship, but then I realized it was great that this book showed that, because sex and sexual manipulation or physical attraction play large roles in abusive relationships. So showing that the main character was really into this guy, really attracted to him, and at times was really wanting and very much consenting to their sexual relationship, I also thought that that was a very important step in just showing all facets, all sides to a relationship like this. The only criticisms that I really have of this book are that I feel like things at points kind of played out almost too clearly abusively. There is physical abuse in this story, and it does sometimes play out kind of like a horror movie. And I don't think that in real life abusive relationships will always play out like that. And it's not to say that not all of them will, because this could be a very real situation for real people. So I'm not discrediting this or saying this isn't realistic. I do appreciate that this book gave plenty of examples and examined a lot of different ways in which a relationship could come about. But at the same time, I also feel like there is a need for books to be a bit more subtle about what manipulation is and what abuse is, because abusive relationships don't have to involve hitting, and I want readers to know that, and young women especially, and young men too. I want people to know that you don't have to be being hit to be in an abusive relationship, for a relationship to be very toxic for you. It's a justified stereotype, but it is kind of a stereotype for abusive relationships to always include physical abuse too, and I just think that it's broader than that. There was nothing wrong with the portrayal in this book, but I hope that readers know that it doesn't have to go that far. This is also portraying the male as the abuser, the female as the victim, and it does only, of course, portray a straight relationship, and abuse is not limited to the man being the abuser. Abuse is not limited to straight relationships. So it's not a fault of this book. This book portrayed things very well. But I guess what I'm saying is I feel like there is a lack in young adult fiction of other types of abusive relationships, and I wish that we had more representation of those to start better conversations, because I am a young woman that's been through an abusive relationship, and this book meant so much to me. Being able to read about something that I've gone through similarly, mine did not play out very much like this one at all, but I think this is a very good conversation starter, and I would urge young people of all genders, of all sexualities, to read this one. I thought that for a debut, the writing was really great. I thought it was really refreshing to have read from the point of view of a jock main character. She was great. She does field hockey. I thought it was great that she was popular and a jock and very successful and still got into this situation, that it's not always the loner or the person that is, the outcast that is vulnerable to situations like that. I was just so glad to read a book that was very purposely tackling that. Like, that is the plot. That's the only plot in this book. It's just a story of a relationship. That's it. You know the whole time it's not a good one. And it was so cringy to read some of the things that this guy was saying to her and then watch her talk herself around it and go along with things. So it wasn't a pleasant read, but it was an important read, and I'm really glad that this book exists. I wish that there were more books out there like this. If you're a parent, if I were a parent, if I had young teenagers, I would want them to read this book and then talk to them about it and talk to them about the things the book didn't cover. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!